Good morning, guys. So it is the day after Hurricane Ian has passed us. So I want to get outside to the garden and check on my plants out there, especially my trees. I did see yesterday after the wind had calmed down that 3 trees was knocked over, but I haven't been out there to check again. I already went to Home Depot this morning because I got some shelves to finish off my laundry room. Let me show you. So yesterday I had my husband put up the shelf, the piping for me, and then this morning I went and got the shelves, and then I stained them and put them up. It's not finished, but I just wanted to see something hanging there because I was so excited. So I want to get some bread started before I go outside. I'm going to be making 2 loaves, and I'm not going to forget the salt this time. I also have this can of apple pie filling and topping. It has no high fruit corn syrup in it that I got from Aldi, I think last year, and I want to try to use this because I had some pre-made pie crust as well that I want to get going. And so I think I'm going to start with the pie crust first and then do the bread and then go outside. So I'm just going to open this and put one down on the pan. Wipe it with egg whites. I already have the egg whites. Everything is pulled away from my walls right now because I did have my son go ahead and cut in the primer because the time that the girls and I primed the kitchen, there was some spots along the ceiling that we didn't get primed all the way. While I was at Home Depot this morning, I did go ahead and pick up just some white paint because I am going to be painting the walls white. I thought about doing a color, but I want my bottom cabinets, I think, to be yellow. And I really like lots of colors, but I have lots of decor that is colorful, and so I didn't want it to kind of clash with my walls. And so I think I'm just going to go ahead and keep them white, and so that way I can bring in the colors with my bottom cabinets and whatever I decide to decorate with. Because my dishes and bowls, they're colorful. I have colorful cups as well. So the best bet was to just leave it white. Okay, I'm gonna get this in the oven. I already have it preheated at 425. I'm gonna put that in there for 45 minutes. So anytime I'm making this bread, someone asks for the recipe. It is actually going to be linked below, as well as the Pullman loaf pan that I'm going to be using. I did say that I was going to be making 2 loaves of this bread, but I'm going to make them separately. I've already made a video where I go over ingredients, even though I got this recipe from Tangi over at Freedom Homestead. This is actually the only type of bread recipe that I've ever tried as far as like sliced bread. So I don't know. I like this one and I'm sticking to it. So I already have my 1 loaf of bread rising, and then I started my 2nd loaf, but I need to refill my whole wheat flour and my all-purpose flour. You can kind of see right here, I have my flours in 5-gallon buckets with the Gamma Seal lids, and then when I need to refill them, I just refill them here. While that's turning, it has to knead for 5 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and refill my containers. I was just about to head outside and then my oven started beeping. So that is the pie. So let's take a look. I did stick aluminum foil on it about halfway through because I saw it was getting really dark. It smells really good. So we'll let that sit there until we come back out of the garden. I did just check my breads and they are rising. I've had peppers that I harvested last, maybe 2 videos ago, the hot peppers and the bell peppers, and they just finished freeze drying. These are all the bell peppers on top. And these, I believe, are all of the spicy peppers. I think I even had shishitos in here. But you can hear, super crunchy. I did come out here the day before the storm and break down the green stalk, as well as take off my forever garden bed trellises because I was scared it was going to blow away. I had planted the rest of my cauliflowers in here, and as you can see, like, there are literally holes. And so I don't know what animal decided to dig up the rest of my cauliflowers, but there's 3 missing. We snuggled all the trees close together so that they would not blow all over the place. And when we came out here yesterday, only like the back 3 were blown over. And we put them back up, so they stayed up, so that's nice. I threw in some potting soil, and I guess even rotted food, and I guess some was watermelon, because now there's a bunch of watermelon popping up in this bed where I have my Brussels sprouts, and it is definitely not enough time for watermelon, so I'm going to take that out. I'm just looking underneath these leaves that have holes to see if I see a caterpillar, but I don't. I've already picked 3 white cucumbers off of here, and there's still some more in there, so that's exciting. And there's some baby ones. So the zinnias in this bed have all flown out because the wind was blowing from this direction, and so that makes sense that they're all leaned over this way. So I don't know if this is the bok choy, the pak choy, but 2 of them have gone to seed. Going to seed is just when it starts producing this flowers right here in the middle, and one right there. There's actually some bugs in there. Can you see them? This one's going to seed as well. And all of that one. Something completely ate. I planted, I don't remember what it was in here, but something ate it. It wasn't that small. Oh, this is the broccoli rabe. The red cabbages seem to be doing nice, and finally, guys, I have some nasturtium popping up. I couldn't get any to pop up in the spring. One of my red cabbages died, but I still have 2, 4, 6 more, so that's nice. I have borage popping up all over the garden after planting it in the bed of the cross. I only planted 2 over there, and it's been popping up everywhere. There's already 3 right here. This tomato's gotten really big. Wonder if we get anything off of it before our frost in about a month. I wanted to check on this squash right here. I saw still pretty tiny, but I can't wait to get a squash. So all of the cauliflower and cabbages I put in this bed a couple days before the storm seem to have made it. So that's nice. And all of my broccoli here, nothing seems to be damaged. Oh my goodness, look how exciting that is. So I think this is from a sucker tomato plant, and so you can see how big it is. It's fallen over, but this must be like a striped zebra tomato. I'm very excited for that. This is my sweet pepper bed, and what I'm thinking about doing here is taking out all of the peppers because we only have a month left. There's not that many flowers on here that can produce in the month with the weather cooling off, and just harvesting the remainder of the peppers and then adding some nutrients and soil here, and then replanting it with some root crops, especially because I want to get this all cleaned up. This was the side that I had marigolds and tomatoes here, but there's like morning glory growing in here. So I may still do that. My whole asparagus bed took a beating. They're all leaning down. So this is my first year successfully growing sweet potato, and these vines are majestic. They're like literally taking over. It's just this 3x6 bed. So I look forward to seeing how much sweet potatoes are in here. I do want to get this cleaned up, this in-ground bed. I'm not sure what I want to do here, if I want to plant anything here. Maybe sugar snap peas, but I definitely want to get it cleaned up. All of the peppers, like the other bed, these are sweet peppers as well, don't really have any peppers on them or any flowering. And in this walkaway, I do want to put down this landscape fabric, the same landscape fabric I put down there, the woven weed fabric, just down here to keep the weeds from coming in. So there are some peppers out here that I can harvest, but like this one, there's no new flowers on it. This was my mix and match flower bed. Wherever I had extra flowers that I was growing and only a few survived, I planted them here. And you can see the zinnia area definitely took a beating to blowing, the wind blowing that direction. My spicy pepper bed looks good though. It doesn't look like it has any damage where you can tell the direction of the wind. But there are some peppers that have grown back here. You guys, so this is a cuckoozy plant that I planted in fall when I did a second round of all of my squashes and cucumbers. I've never grown this before, but that's amazing. I am letting these dragon tongue bush beans dry on here so that I can have seed for next year, because I do not have any seeds. This sweet potato bed is definitely pretty full. Actually, I can already see the sweet potato right there popping out the ground. We've already did chores this morning, so we know that all the animals are safe and we had them close to the house. So we were checking on them plenty yesterday. We also had moved the ducks to this area, their house to this area, because it's higher ground. This kind of slopes. I don't think you can see it, but it slopes and it gets really wet in some areas over here at the future orchard, and so we had moved the ducks just to be closer in case the wind got really strong. There isn't any like wind breaks over here, so we need to move their house back. We also had the rabbit. We brought our rabbit inside of the garage, and then we also brought our turkeys inside of a dog cage on our patio. Okay, so it's definitely ready for its second rise. So I'm hungry, and while I'm waiting for the bread to rise, I decided to whip up some, what is this called? I have this pack of organic rice ramen, and I want to make peanut butter Thai noodles. And I also grabbed a jar of chicken that I had already canned and whipped me up some peanut sauce. I have the water starting to boil so that I could dump the noodles in there, but I put me some peanut sauce. This is peanut butter sauce, so it's just like peanut butter, coconut aminos, fish sauce, some ginger, garlic, and I used the broth from that was in here. It also has brown sugar, sesame oil, and then instead of rice wine vinegar, I used this honey ginger white balsamic vinegar. I also don't have any chili paste, so instead I just used this powder that is from my spicy peppers and added that in there for a little spice. I'm trying to make some room in my freezer, and so I have these strawberries. These are strawberries from the garden that I picked while they were fresh, and so they're fresh garden strawberries, as well as some ground cherries. And then this, I think, are hearts from the chickens that we processed. I'm going to freeze dry these as well for the dogs. And then I have this half a bag of triple berry. My kids don't really like the all berries together, really the raspberries, because of the seeds. So I'm just going to freeze dry it. Since this is the only meat product I have, I am actually going to sit this all the way by itself. I actually may need to break that. I have everything in the freeze dryer. I have the berries, the strawberries with the ground cherries, and then I have the chicken hearts, and I think there's gizzards on there as well on the last tray. So you close it. This food is already frozen. I am going to close the valve, and then when you click freeze drying frozen food, and if it wasn't frozen, I could just press start and then it would freeze it first and then freeze dry it, but it's already frozen, so I'm going to hit frozen and start. Okay, so this pot is boiling, so I'm going to take my ramen and add it in there. So I added 3 bricks in there. My kids don't really like the peanut noodles when I make it, so more for me because I love it. And I am going to let it boil for 1 minute, then turn it down to low and let it cook for 3 minutes, and then take it out and I'll show you the end product. Bread is risen, and so I'm going to close it. This one's hard to close. The oven's already preheated, so I'm going to put them in the oven at 350 for 30 minutes. So this is what it's looking like. It is more liquidy because I left some of the boiling water inside the noodles because it does get thick really fast. This is steaming hot. Yeah. I really like Thai peanut butter noodles. They're delicious. I don't make it all the time, but every time I make it, it's delicious. I'll leave the link to the recipe that I followed for this peanut butter sauce if you're interested.